at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might have been, knowing that this day will never come again, as my spirit's guiding me.
Hi, this is Lainey Risto, and you're watching and listening to Soul Chat here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And my co-host today is
Janie Powers.
Yeah, Janie's back. Janie's been on. You've been on a couple of different incarnations of radio shows.
A little bit, yeah.
Little bit.
It's been a while.
Yeah. What we're going to talk about today is EFT, and some of you may have heard that acronym thrown around. Everything's got an acronym these days, it seems like. And it's actually it's emotional freedom technique,
or some
right?
say tapping.
Tapping, yeah, if you've heard of tapping. And it's used pretty widely. I mean, I've seen it used with all kinds of things. Veterans, because I've done some work with veterans, anybody with emotional problems, anybody with physical, emotional trauma. It's really good for that. But before we do that, anybody that wants to call in, if you've got a question, or you can call 702-609-7626. Or if you're on Skype, you can go to Skype and put in All Talk Radio, one word. And with that, I'm going to do our little segment, which is, what did I learn about myself this week? Wow, it was a week for me. I gave Janie a heads up on that before we came in, and so she's going to be sitting here thinking about it and see if there's anything. But it's about, what did I learn about myself this week? And the reason that we go that direction, not just what did I learn, but what did I learn about myself? Because most healing involves learning about yourself. There's a deep root someplace, and that's usually where it starts. So what happened was, on Saturday, there was an incident that I actually learned two things. There was an incident where a friend called me. She completely lost her voice. She had to do a meditation up at the salt room. I finally got to go up to the salt room. I know you guys are up there.
Yeah, it's nice up there.
And she said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'd love to go up there because the salt room would be great. They actually put salt in the air, and how it's really good for people with any kind of lungs, respiratory, whatever. And she said, but I don't know who's going to take it over. And I said, well, if they don't have anybody, I'm not doing anything. I would love to see it anyway, so I can take you up there. I can do the meditation for you. She said, fine. So she's on an area of town where it's one of those corners, you know, where if something is right on the corner, you have to turn into it. You can't get there from here real easy.
Yes,
you have to go pull a U-turn and come back or whatever.
Yeah.
So I went across this intersection. I had to go across the intersection and make a right. When I was in the intersection, I realized I was in the wrong lane. Now, I'm a fast driver. I'm a good driver. I've got lots of miles behind me with no accidents and very few little tickets, you know, meaning like 45 and a 35. But I saw this hole where I could scoot in, right? What it amounts to is I cut some guy off. That's what it came down to. If you talk to him, that's what he would say. There was enough room. I did it quick. I did it fast, whatever. It all would have been fine, except that when I had to make this right turn, they were tearing the gas pumps out of this gas station. So all of a sudden, here is this chain link fence that I can't see. Had to put on the brakes and step on it, and everybody was fine. So I was in the wrong. There's no doubt about it. Insurance, if he'd have hit me, would have said, well, you don't rear end anybody. Anybody with a rear end collision is the guy hitting you is at fault. But neither here nor there. So I pull in. There's my friend standing there. This guy had gone and pulled a U-turn, turned around. It took 2 or 3 minutes for him to get back to me, literally pulled in behind me so that he could roll his window down and scream at me.
Oh, jeez.
And scream at me and call me names and all of that stuff. And what I learned was that was me 20 years ago. I remember doing that. I would do, because I was right, and I needed to do that. What bothered me about it is that he had his kids in the car, and he brought that up. So he's saying all these nasty, vile things, and I actually looked at him and thanked him.
Yeah.
Which I could feel him his energy kind of jar a little bit and go, but he still kept going. And it made him hesitate, but he still kept going. And I realized I still do that. People will pull in front of me real fast, you know, or they'll do that, and I'm still, and so I still have anger issues that I get to deal with. We all do. Anyway, they never completely go away. They come up. But the other thing was that other than the fact that that was me 20 years ago, and that I wasn't in the right at all. I mean, I had done something, but I learned that I still have things to learn about myself when it comes to anger. And even though they're not as strong as they used to be, they're still there.
Yeah.
We still get to deal with them, and the trick is to catch it. And I also heard this song in my head. Slow down, you move too fast.
Dun, dun,
The
dun,
moment
dun, dun,
lasts.
dun.
Yeah, there we go. There's the music part of the show. So anyway, it was really interesting, and I noticed these things will happen when I least expect it, because those of us that are intuitive, I had this conversation with somebody else last week. Those of us that are intuitive, unless we get blindsided, we see it coming, and so we'll duck, right?
It's not me. It's not me. It's not me.
Yeah, so what about you?
I want to touch base with what you just mentioned.
Oh, good. Maybe I'll get some healing here.
Somebody told me something years ago, and it really helped me because so many people have the road rage.
Right.
And the simple thing of putting yourself in their place,
Right.
like you did. You
Right.
put yourself in their place. I'll be driving along, and I'll have that person pull out in front of me. And I'm like, they must be in a bigger hurry than I am.
That's right.
And that's how I work with it. Or, okay, go ahead. I'm going to give you some space, and just approach it that way, where rather than some people, "What are you idiot? What are you doing?" Rather than that, just realizing that maybe they just got a phone call and their wife's in labor, and that's why they pulled out so quick.
Well, what was
or something like that.
What was interesting to me is that then once I worked through mine, when I was working through my stuff, then I thought, wait a minute. And of course, my friend is standing there and going, she goes, "I can't believe how you diffused that. I could still feel the knot in my stomach. I just chose not to act on it and to thank him."
Yeah.
But on the other hand, think about the kids. I thought about back in the old days when I would get angry, that the turmoil my kids would feel when I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
What was he doing? That took him a good 3 or 4 minutes to get turned around, and he was doing that in front of his kids. To be a warrior? What was his intention? Was he, probably there was fear there, because he's supposed to protect his kids, and this crazy woman driver did this thing, and so, so it's looking at where are they coming from.
Where they're coming from.
Right.
Yeah, and it could have been mostly with the kids, what's
could
going
have
on
been.
with my kids and that. And like I said, I've just learned for myself, sometimes I'm late.
Yeah, that's right.
And
what's wrong with that?
That's
There's
okay.
There's that island time thing.
Yeah.
The native
some
time,
call it
island
pagan time,
pagan time. Yeah. Yeah, there's Chronos and there's
7-ish.
Kairos,
And then whenever I do events, I'll always, it starts at 7, and about 10 after we actually really get going.
Yeah.
Because, that gives everybody that time to get there, that traffic, that couldn't find my keys, that whatever that last minute thing was.
Right.
So.
And what I found when I have events is I like to be there half an hour before, because it only takes 10 or 15 minutes to get set up. But I like that space in between, so I can let go of who just pulled in front of me, or doing that thing.
Yeah. And sometimes that happens, and sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't. No, we're
I know
human.
that.
We're human. But I did notice, wow, this was me 20 years ago. I would go out of my way, not thinking about what I was doing to my kids.
Yeah.
Who have already probably gotten scared anyway.
Yeah.
And now I've done this thing because I need to be right.
Yeah.
So hindsight, this is what you can learn from hindsight.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. So, EFT.
EFT.
How did you get started? Well, first of all, tell us what you do. This is Janie Powers. She is my friend.
Yes, I am a natural practitioner in many different areas. I try to help people focus on their whole mind-body connection. I truly believe that your mind has a large percentage to do what your body presents you with. Any health ailments that you may have could very well be coming from your mind and thoughts or past belief systems. 10 years ago, I had a health issue. I woke up one day and could not stand up. I had severe pain going down my leg, which I found out later is called sciatica, but I could not move. My children walked to school that day, and they brought me over the phone because I couldn't move from where I was. Neighbors came over, helped me, blah, 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 blah.
And there's a lot of people that experience that, too.
And I experienced that off and on for almost 8 months.
Wow.
I was told that my fifth lumbar was 40% out or in, where most vertebrae get out and they will push it in. It's a subluxation, and they can push it in.
Right.
Mine was actually 40% in. They couldn't pull it out. The bone right above the tailbone.
Right.
That vertebrae was in 40. I saw it on the X-ray. It was like half an inch out of place. So basically, I did some acupuncture. I did some adjustments. I did a lot of laying around in bed because I couldn't stand, walk. sit or anything.
Isn't it interesting? Because I have heard a lot of people who go into the energy healing field that have gone through something like this. For me, what not so much into the energy field, because I was already kind of there, but what turned my direction towards being a shamanic practitioner was when I broke my ankle. And I had 18 months of wheelchairs, walkers, crutches.
Yep.
And it was the same thing. It was like, well, I've got time now to really focus on
me.
Yeah,
and
what's
that's
going on.
that's what happens. A lot of times, I was perfectly happy being a waitress. I had been one for 25 years, bartending, cocktail, food serving, and I was raising my children with this. And I had just accepted the fact that I'm not just a waitress; I'm a good waitress.
Yes.
You know, that's what I'm doing. I'm a good waitress, and I can take care of people. And
So
I'm
you
blah, blah, blah,
attached
blah, blah.
yourself to the label.
I was a good waitress now. I'm proud of myself and who I am. And it wasn't probably 3 months after that they knocked me down and I couldn't walk.
Isn't that funny how that works?
And I'm like, okay. And about 2 weeks after I had that, my mother passed away. And I was very close to my mother. And not long after that, one of my best friends was killed in a car wreck.
Yeah, 3 weeks after I broke my leg.
Yeah.
My ankle. My dad passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny. It's all part. It's not funny, haha, but it's all part of this grand transition thing.
It's
right?
like, wake up. We've got something, you know. And I remember, because I was pretty much atheist at that point. I really didn't have any spiritual beliefs. You know, I'd go out to the, hiking or something like that. I loved nature. And I really didn't have any spiritual beliefs. And I remember going, okay, enough is enough. I can't walk. I can't work. How do I feed my kids?
You got my
blah, blah,
attention.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I understand. And after about 8 months of complaining to numerous people, one person finally said, you should try Reiki. And I'm like, well, what's that? And they, well, it helped. I think she was sick of hearing me complain, basically. And I love her dearly. She's a good friend of mine now. And when she actually is one of my students, and she has taken all the way through my master class with that. But that led me into also my own spiritual journey.
Right.
They say I'm never going to be able to run again. They say I'm not. Quit telling me what I can't do. I want to find somebody that tells me what I can do.
Right. Well, and you and I were talking earlier. You and I are both kind of the same thing. It's like too many rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not following that one. Your x-rays may say this, but I'm not believing that. And I met a woman, and the first thing she said to me was, you can do anything you want with your mind.
So is that what led you to EFT?
The EFT. She was my first Reiki master I trained under, but she also taught me EFT, and then I took a small weekend course on it. I just learned the basics. I just know the basics, and it is powerful. There's like 9 levels.
Yeah, and I understand there's even a form of it, because there's a guy on Facebook that I've friended that does it, because I was kind of looking at it. You know, and his something about fast EFT. There's a
there's so many different versions of it. And there's also EST, emotional sound therapy. You're using the sound rather than just the physical touching. And Gary Craig, his site is emofree.com, and I promote him because if you really want to learn, I would really recommend going to a professional to learn from him or learn from one of his people, because I learned from a person who gave me all the stuff, and I was so happy because when I went to his site one day and he's talking about there's all these people out there doing things that aren't right. They're doing this and they're not doing this, and everything he listed I was doing just like he wanted me to do. So I was very happy because he says, mention this, don't forget to tell them this, don't forget to mention this, be sure and bring this to their attention, and everything he mentioned I was doing. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing it the way he wants to do it, even though I didn't train with his people. I'm still.
Now, this is Gary Craig.
This is Gary Craig. He's the founder
So
of
these
EFT.
are some rules that you adhered to.
Yes, these are some of the things that I learned, and,
Okay.
and I'm doing them. I'm already doing them, and he had mentioned them on his site that some people have challenges. They have this going on because they're not doing it this way. Well, I do it this way. I was following all the things.
So how many years have you done this now?
About 8 years.
Wow.
About 8 years. And like you said, you can use it on some really major trauma stuff that have happened. And sometimes you'll have those flashbacks and you get the heart palpitations or the sadness or the anxiety or the car wrecks. 5 I've been in, and it's still you have flashbacks sometimes of those. And it takes you away from that to, okay, I had a car wreck.
So this is why it works with PTSD, because they are locked in that framework of what they remember happening.
Yes.
And so this interrupts that pattern of being stuck in that loop, right?
It works with the meridians of the body. So you're actually tapping on the meridians of the body to program your body and your mind.
Now the meridians aren't they Eastern in nature?
Yes.
Okay,
like
that's
acupuncture.
where like acupuncture.
Like acupuncture.
So it's using the same thing as the meridians in acupuncture, only you're doing a tapping.
You're doing a tapping.
Okay. And there is acupressure as well.
Yes.
Because I was trained in acupressure
Yeah.
without the needles.
And those kind of work on the ending points, hands and feet, but they're also,
Right.
there's all over the body.
Right.
And these are just some basic meridian points that you work with.
Right.
So once you learn it, or I don't say I teach it because I wasn't trained to be a teacher.
Right.
I do workshops and I show people how to do it, but I always request them to look at his site.
Yeah.
Follow
And this
him.
is and his site is
EMOFree, EMOFREE.com.
so emo is emotion free.
Emotion, yeah, like emotion free. Like
Okay, so it's
yeah.
EMOFREE.com. And it's Gary Craig.
Gary Craig, he's the founder, and you can get it. I mean, I get like 2 or 3 a week, and you can get him. He's always got really good stuff in there.
Okay.
So different things, you know. But if you go to the site too, and you're looking for, you know, if you want to stop eating certain foods, or if you have the past trauma, you can bring it down to that specific thing. And then he also has things on there of actual tapping where you can see how it's done.
Okay. So what's the most dramatic thing you've seen happen? Can you think of a time somebody came to you, the most dramatic thing other than your own?
I had a gentleman once, and in EFT you do a scale of 0 to 10.
Of like pain?
Pain,
or...
you know, a 0 meaning I have none, or emotions, I'm completely fine with it. I can remember that issue and I don't have the anxiety. 0 to 10. 10 being I can't breathe, it's overwhelming.
Right.
And I asked this gentleman once on a scale of 0 to 10 with the issue that he had, he said, I'm 100.
Wow, you went times 10 just like
I'm
that.
Okay, it's pretty severe. And the issue that he recalled was a very traumatic issue.
Physical issue?
No, it was emotional, it was more emotional.
With physical issues, there's always emotions that come involved.
Yeah, but his specifically was an emotion that when he thought about it, it was so overwhelming that he couldn't focus. And I mean, it was just
so it might as well have been real, and it might as well be happening
right now.
Again, right now.
Right now,
Okay.
it's happening
Okay.
right now because that's how he felt.
Okay.
And I think we did 2 rounds of tapping, and he was down to about a 3 or 4.
Now, this is real interesting to me because I got a very good friend, and I think she watches this once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
She has been a cancer nurse.
Yes.
Was a part of the original study when they developed the 1 to 10 rating thing. And you can use it for so many things. You know, I've used it too. So this is real interesting. What is the most minor thing?
Runny nose. A runny nose. You can get
Yeah.
rid of a runny nose in about 2 or 3 minutes, however long it takes you to tap once or twice. I did it on the way here.
Yeah, you were telling me in the car.
It was so strange.
If you saw a woman driving down the road that says, what does it say on your back window?
Shine your light.
Shine your light, who's standing there driving and tapping her nose. That was her.
That was me. And it's so strange because generally I have very good health, very strong, healthy body. I have a very strong, healthy body.
Yeah.
I tap that in regularly. But for some reason, I had a little congestion and my nose was going funny. I'm like, okay, I'm driving in a different part of town, whatever, you know, I release all the thoughts, whatever. So, but I'm like, I'm getting ready, and I was getting nasal, and I'm like, no, wait a minute, I'm going to go talk. I can't be nasal.
I can't imagine anything stopping you from talking, Jeannie.
Well,
Maybe she completely lost her voice. George has known Janie for a long
yes, he
time.
has.
So we can always count on Janie.
That's
you
it.
know?
That's it.
Yeah.
So I just did a series of tapping, and I was stopped at a stoplight, and there's a gamut point where you have to close your eyes and you do these funny eye things and you hum and you count. I did that at a stoplight, and then I did the tapping again. I'm like, okay, but now I've got watery eyes. Okay, and then I did it again.
You
The
pushed
watery
it up
eyes.
from your nose into your eyes.
It went, yep, and then I
Way
did
to
the
go.
watery eyes, and then I was, about less than 5 minutes completely. And as you can tell right now, no runny
Yeah,
nose,
no, I
runny,
don't see
nothing.
anything running
It's
off your
gone.
face.
It's
I mean,
completely
that's
gone.
good.
Yeah, and it came on kind of quick, so I knew that it was just something in the air. Generally, the best thing with EFT is if you have a sinus issue or if you have a long-standing health issue, you need to find out when it very first started, the root cause, the original cause. People say, I want to stop smoking. Okay, when did you start?
Right.
And why did you start?
Right.
And that's what we're going to tap on. So,
yeah, because
and
you're it's not just about relieving symptoms. It's about going in and getting to the root of
The
it
root
and
cause.
pulling it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones Gary Craig has, and I've watched it numerous times. There was a woman, and I believe it was a snake. It might have been a rat. I believe it was a snake. She had,
Snake, rat, that can all make you jump.
yeah. It was probably 30 feet away in a cage, and she was hyperventilating because that snake was in a cage 30 feet from her, and in about 2 rounds of tapping, she was holding the snake.
Okay, that's pretty dramatic.
Yes. And that's
Wow.
one that he had. And it's very common to be able to do that. But he needed to find out why it happened, how old she was, and the root cause of it. And most generally, it will never come back again once you hit the root cause.
Okay.
So you can tap on the symptoms that you're having, and you can alleviate the symptoms, but until you get to the root cause, that's what you're going to completely release it from.
Okay. What about a situation, because before I came, I had a client, and what about a situation where the root cause actually started in a previous lifetime? Will this go back? Can you take it back to that?
To me, I believe you can. One thing that I do that's a little bit different that I've never been trained in with Gary Craig, and this is just my own little twist on things because I am a spiritual worker. Before I start a session, I'm always, okay, Spirit, be with us, assist us on this process for the greatest of all good. And we call in the angels, we call in,
Whoever wants
hierarchy,
to,
whoever's going to help us out with this.
As long as it's beings of light.
Beings of light help us out with
yeah.
this. I always call the angels in.
Yeah.
And they're with us. So for me, that just kind of adds a little boost to the tapping. And again, if you are going into a past life, I've added a couple other things too, because the basic is you're saying, even though I have this, whatever it is, issue, I love myself completely. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't feel like saying it, doesn't say it right, just say it. It's okay. Mm-hmm. If you can't say I love myself, because I had a woman once that could not say the words, I love myself.
I've had situations of the same thing.
Yeah. So what you do is, even though I have this issue, I allow the possibility to love myself completely.
Do you ever tell them to pretend?
Yeah, and that's along the same lines. Yeah, just pretend. It's okay.
Because I'll tell them, especially like if I'm teaching people how to journey.
Yeah.
And they say, I'm just not getting anything. I'm not getting anything. I say, well, then just pretend.
Just pretend.
Fake it till you make it.
That's
it.
It's
that kind of
I like
thing.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you, because I have, as I'm looking at you, I've had a problem all day long. And it's a genetic condition. We're talking about something that's my mother had. It's in your DNA.
Yes.
And what I have is it's just a nuisance eye condition. It's this eye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's a nuisance eye condition, and some people have experienced it with me, and they'll call me up and say, "What are you doing?" And I'll tell them I'm sitting in the house with my sunglasses on, putting eye drops in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the dryness, I live in, of all the places on the planet to live, dryness really affects it, right? I was really smart about that. Really good. I was really smart about that. So what happens, it's called corneal dystrophy.
Okay.
And it's when the cells, here's the cells that are on for your eye, and we know each cell has a different function in the body. Mm-hmm. So your eye cells, which regenerate really fast, thank goodness, okay? What happens is the little feet on the cells that let them adhere to layers, okay? I'm making it very simple. Mine aren't very well formed genetically.
Okay.
They come out that way.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no injury. It's just that's the way they are. My parents. And so what happens is they don't have a long life. And when they come off, if you ever had a situation where all of a sudden you'll just have a pain in your eye and you go, oh, it's like somebody stuck a little pin in it or something. Have you ever had that? It's a sudden
I've had
thing.
bugs fly in my eyes and
Yeah,
sand in
no,
my
that's
eyes.
a
I've had
little
real
different.
stuff, but not the,
Well,
but I
it
know what you're
feels
saying.
like
yeah.
that, but all
yeah.
of a sudden it's like a zing, and I go, okay, I just lost a cell.
Yeah.
And if I'm not careful with it, I have to put stuff in my eyes at night. I have to put drops in my eyes and keep it moist, especially here.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happens is it gets inflamed.
Okay.
Until, thank God, and sometimes every once in a while I have to go and have a contact bandage put on, or just a contact to give it, and that feels so good because when the air's off of it's like a burn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have that going on, and I noticed it a couple of days ago. Like from the outside, it was like somebody. It was like real tender. And then I woke up this morning, and there it was. I knew what was going on. So I've been putting drops in. I've had sunglasses on all day long.
Yeah.
So what do you do with something that's kind of a long explanation, but that's something that's really genetic? And I know there are people out there that believe that you can change your DNA.
Yes.
I don't know about that. I'm holding out on that a little bit. Maybe that's where I need to learn, Yeah, so what about a genetic thing like that? Because I don't know that you can make it go away,
Well, there's a test, and again, I think it's on his site, but there's paperwork I have on it. They actually have documentation. Mm-hmm. It's not genetic, but it's blood.
Okay.
They drew someone's blood.
Mm-hmm.
They looked at it, and blood cells are all supposed to be free and loose and just floating around and nice and
or
round
they could be
and whatever.
thick and gooey, and then you got problems.
Yeah, and they're all clumped together and they're all funky
that's
shaped.
Not good. Not a
Okay,
good
so
thing.
this blood test from this person was all clumped together and pretty nasty looking. So they tapped.
Okay.
15 minutes later, they took the blood again, and it was loosening up.
That's pretty interesting
Okay.
stuff.
Then they tapped again. They took the blood again, and they're round, and they're all loose. Now, this is blood test under a microscope done with EFT. That's pretty strong
That's
stuff.
pretty interesting. That's
pretty strong
you gotta
stuff.
say, at the very least, you've got to be able to say something's happening here.
Something's happening, and that's
Yeah.
actually, like I said, I would love to give you the exact document. I just remember it because it's like, oh my God, look, they changed the blood. They're drawing the blood, and they're tapping, and then they're drawing the blood, and
So is there a menu, or is there a format that you follow, or is there a certain amount of
generally the basics? And what I'm getting with you, and I'm working on not tapping into intuition because that's coming through real strong too right now. But
that's okay.
But
This is a show. This is
what
like,
I'm getting, what I'm getting is the right side is Are you right-handed?
Yes.
And that's generally a masculine side.
That's right.
The masculine, there's something that you don't want to see right now in the masculine
Right.
life, something going on in your life. So, but with the genetics kicked into it, it's your grandmother's mother? I'm going on your mother's side. Something happened to her with a man, blah, 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 blah. That's why that's cocking
Well,
your genetics.
on my mother's side, yeah, because my mother had it, so it would be on her side. So I don't know. Everybody was conservative Scandinavian. They stayed with people whether they wanted to or not.
But that's what I'm saying. There's something that happened to her mother.
This is an intuition thing now that you're doing.
Yeah, it's going. But anyway, that's what I connected into with you to be able to tap this away. And that's why I do it a little bit different than Gary Craig, because I do kind of connect into that as well.
I could see you doing
so
that.
I can connect into, okay, it's a past life, it's genetics, but you've also heard the story about grandma or mom, why do you cut the ends off the ham? Well, because my mom did it. Well, grandma, why do you cut the ends off the ham?
I don't want you to get off camera.
Because my mom did it.
She's still on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're working with this ham, and they cut the ends off of it because mom did it, because grandma did it, because
Right.
Well, great grandma, why do you cut the ends off? She goes, well, it doesn't fit in the pan. So they followed this line because they
Right.
thought they were supposed to cut the ends off the ham before they put it in. The only reason she did it was because it didn't fit in the pan.
And they thought there was something.
There was something about the raise, you got to cut each end off the ham before you stick it in to cook it. But it's just because it wouldn't fit in the pan.
Okay.
So it's going back to those kind of belief systems. The same line as it's genetics. Well, my grandmother had diabetes, and her mother had diabetes, and her mother had diabetes, so I'm going to have diabetes. Well, if you're all eating the same diet, yeah, you're probably going to get the same genetic
the interesting
issues.
thing about this is it didn't show up until I came down here.
Ah,
You know, the dryness.
the dryness.
The dryness kicked it in. And it probably showed up stronger about 2 years ago. Now, my mom just passed away,
Okay.
like in January. I'm just looking at it and thinking, how does that work? I can see, I've kind of resigned myself to it, and that it's a really good reminder for me to take care of myself
Yeah.
every day. Because this is
and
something
looking,
I have
looking at your life. You're looking at your life
And
because
you
get
know I
worried
do
and you
that
can't
a lot.
see.
So, yeah.
And that's
so
the masculine side. It could be the masculine side
it's
of
also
yourself.
how you, another way to put it is it's also how do you give? You know, looking at how you give out, and looking at how you're doing your life and the way you're presenting it to people.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
which I am going through a transition right now.
Yeah, yeah. And
You know,
then that's
as
then
to
that's
how am I
part
going
of
to
it.
do this now? Am I going to do things exactly the way I've been doing them? Probably not. I've
Yeah.
made some big changes since the first of the year.
And shifting around.
And it's
Yeah.
shifting around. So it's even more important for me to pay attention to what I'm doing, because it is painful.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nuisance.
Well,
It's not
going
gonna
back
address
to
my vision. It's not going to affect my vision. Only sometimes it looks like I'm looking through stained glass. Sometimes,
Yeah.
which is kind of pretty.
yeah. But if you go into the physical side of it, this would be a suggestion. Normally, EFT is, even though I have this eye issue, and all the tests tell me that this disease is in my eye, and everybody's been telling me that it's been passed down through my genetics, and that it's in my DNA, that it's in my makeup. I choose at this time to release all those belief systems because I have a healthy, strong body.
That's interesting.
Even though, then you repeat that 3 times. Your
listening,
setup
George?
phrase, your setup phrase can be very long, and it can be drawn out because your setup phrase is what
So
you're
you do
dealing
this
with.
while you're tapping.
Yes,
Okay.
even though
Now, I
all
noticed you
this.
use the outside of your hand here. Hold your
That's
hand
the
up here so
karate
they
chop.
can see
That's
it.
the karate chop point. And
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
beginning. That's your setup phrase. And that's the
Okay.
beginning of it. And it can be as simple as, even though my nose is running, I love myself. Even though my nose is running, I love myself. Even though my nose is running, I love myself. You know, and it can be, even though I'm really ticked off right now at that person.
I love myself.
Yeah, I love myself.
Even though I just cut this guy off and he stopped and he yelled at me.
That's it.
I
love
love
myself. That's
I'm
it.
done.
And it can be for anything. But when you're working with something that could possibly be a long-term thing built up from many things that have come
Right,
through, like you said,
right.
your mom had it, your grandma had it, it's your
Oh, I don't
genetics.
know. I didn't even know I had it until 2 years ago.
And then you found out that the scientific proof shows, and all the tests tell me, and the doctors are telling me,
Mm-hmm.
I choose to believe this.
Okay.
I have a healthy, strong eye, and all the cornea, whatever the little things are all healthy and strong, and none of them disappear.
All the feet are gripping like they should.
That's it. Yeah. And then you would say that 3 times, and then you would just could either.
Okay, so there's a magic 3. We see that
3
a
that
lot.
you do that, and that's the setup phrase.
And where you tap is right
that's
here.
It. That's a
So I want
karate chop. Now,
everybody to
some
see
people
where
do
that
the
is.
sore spot, but I'll tell you what, just do the karate chop. It's just much easier to find. And that's just right here.
So you start tapping, you get the phrase in mind.
You get the positive, the affirmation going. And then I love myself. Or I accept myself. Love and accept myself.
That's it. My little cells in my eye are just fine.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all you do. And how long do you do that?
You're just going to tap. You're going to say it 3 times. You're going to tap that 3 times. Yeah. My
my
cells are
eye
perfectly
is
fine, and I
healthy.
love myself. My eyes.
My
Yep.
cells.
And
My
my eyes
cells.
healthy.
Now I've got too much in there. Okay.
So,
my
yeah.
cells in my eye are perfectly fine, and I love myself.
There you go.
My cells in my eye are perfectly fine, and I love myself. My cells in my eye are perfectly fine, and I love myself. I'm almost writing a
There
song.
you go. And that's 3. That's 3. That's it. That's it. You do
That's
that
it.
3 times, and you would take a deep breath.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I always just say it's monkey see, monkey do, because it's easier just to watch me, and it's kind of going to be kind of interesting with all this on me. But I always start at the top of the head, just because that's where spirit enters, and I like that. Some people don't start at the top of the head, and that's okay.
Some people believe it begins with Mother Earth. So
well,
it
yeah.
just, just
so,
depends
and
what
you would just, and like I said, with these on, it's going to make some noise, but you're going to be tapping straight up your ears.
From here, you go up here?
You're going straight up your ears, and you're on the top of the head, and you would be
top of
tapping.
the head?
Then you tap here, and then the next spot is
wait a minute. What do you mean by straight up the ears? You mean you use
go
that as a...
Nope, yeah, that's where you're at.
Oh, that's where you're at.
You're not back
Okay.
here, you're not up here, you're
This
going
is like
straight
that
up your
monkey
ears.
thing, monkey
That's
thing.
it, yeah, that's it. And that's why kids are so great with this, because you can have fun with them, and they get to tap, and kids like to be busy and do stuff. So
I like to be busy and do stuff.
Yeah, you're actively participating. Now, if you have a client that's not going to practice this, it might not be the best method for them.
No,
because
that's
you do
true.
need to be
That's
active,
true.
and you need to be able to do this on your own as well.
Right.
And then you just go through all the different points. You've got the inside of the eyebrow, you've got the outside of the eye, and you need to be on the bone.
Now, does he have a chart on the site?
He does. I believe so, yeah. He's got all the sites, and when I do my workshops, I hand out paperwork. So you get to go home with information to be able to practice it at home.
Okay.
So you just hit all the points. Yep,
Okay.
you hit all the points, and they go right down under here. And I have to laugh. I don't know if the camera goes down. You have to lift up the girls. And he always says he doesn't do this point when he's with a large crowd because it's too difficult for women. Because a man doesn't know how to tell the girls to lift up. Because it's actually referred
This is gonna be the favorite show. I can see it now. We're gonna have more likes on this segment. The Soul Chat.
with the girls.
Lifting up the girls.
Lifting up the girls. Well, the point is actually called below nipple, but women don't tap below their nipple. Men do. That's the point. But women need to lift up the girls to get to the point to tap on, because it's right where the bra line hits. It's right where the bra line hits.
That makes a lot of sense.
And if you've got big girls, you need to pick them up. You know? Men, it's okay. They can tap, but girls, you're not
Don't
tapping
ever
on
go
the
on
nipple.
Brett's show. Don't ever go on Maxwell Silverhorn show. Don't ever do it. It'll
But,
just turn.
you know,
George won't survive.
there we go. But that's the points that you hit. And each of these points have an emotional point, and they all go to certain parts of your body for your meridians.
They do. The meridians
So depending
do that.
on whether it's anger or whether it's fear or whatever it is, EFT is taken off of what's called TFT, which is thought field therapy. It's a whole different type of thing, but very similar. But again, then you do the fingers. You do the fingers, and again, I love myself completely. And then you do the gamut. I mean, it's quite a procedure, but you can do the whole thing
Do you
in less
do
than
both
5
sides
minutes.
to make it
You
balanced?
don't have to,
No,
and
you
he
just do
even
the
says
one?
you can do this side and then do this side. He
Okay,
even
now
says
let
you
me
can
get this
switch.
straight. You use the left hand because that's receiving?
Either way.
It
either
doesn't
way.
matter.
Nope. Either way, you can tap. You can actually go like this, and you just need to apply pressure to that point. You can
Okay.
even double karate chop if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. 2 fingers, not 1, not 3. 2
Two
fingers.
fingers.
2 fingers. 2 fingers.
Why?
Positives and negatives. You want to
Gotcha.
be neutral.
That makes a lot of sense
wanna
to
be
me because I
neutral.
did polarity therapy for
so-
quite a while.
Yep. And each point you're hitting, again, if you hit a point and it's really sore, then that might be the point. That might be the point.
That
Because
you
you
need to-
may
do you
you
stay
may
on it
you
at
may
that
need to
point?
stay on that one a little bit longer. Oh, that's my anger point. There it is. Or oh, that's my fear. That's it. Some people think that they're angry, and then they find out when they're tapping the word fear comes up.
Well,
Ooh.
anger is a top emotion. Psychologically, it's usually the top layer.
Yeah.
It's the thing. That's why I said the guy stopped. He put all that energy into turning his
Yeah.
car around to come and yell at me. And what was really going on is that something spoke to him about being unable to protect his kids.
Yeah. Well, fear,
You know?
anger is the inability to control a situation.
That's right. And under that, usually under fear, there's usually two of them. It's either I'm totally powerless
Yeah.
or I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And some people say, well, I'm not lovable, which is
Yeah, along the
falls
same
under
lines.
not-
Yeah,
on the
it's
same
all the same
lines. So
lines.
that's usually at the base of everything. But
Yeah.
you can't just go there and say, oh, I have fear, so I'm probably not good enough. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You've got to drop down with it as
Yep.
it
And
it goes.
as you're doing this, like I said, first thing you're going to do when I interview a client is a 0 to 10. I will talk to them about what would you like to work on, and I will get a few key words. And I will have them scale 0 to 10, fear, anger, sadness, resentful, whatever it is that they come up, and we'll see which one's the highest. And we will tap on that. And most generally, all the other ones will lessen as we tap.
Yeah, they're usually connected.
Or
I
a
found this.
new
Yeah.
one may come up. Oh, wow. And I'll ask them, if you feel another word, tell me. If you're feeling something else come up, that's what we need to tap on.
Right.
So with your eye, again, you're working with something that the doctors have proven, that have been in this. So you need to release some of those thoughts. You know.
Right.
Also keep in mind the other thing that Gary Craig does mention, the time when EFT may not work. If you have structural damage, if you have had parts of your body removed or taken out,
Right.
it may be possible that you might not be able to alleviate a certain situation because your body is not complete and whole in all of its systems.
So what about scar tissue? Because some people have a lot of pain from scar tissue.
Yeah.
So is that considered a physical manifestation then?
It could be. It could
Okay.
be. And just
Okay.
yeah, and just keep in mind that like you can tap until the cows come home, but you may not grow that arm back that you had amputated. You know, you can
Well, you
tap.
certainly can't tap on it.
Yeah.
Maybe, how would
Yeah,
you
might
tap?
be able to if you can get it out of the dog's mouth.
So that brings up or the crocodile. Whichever.
Yeah, crocodile. Yeah.
So how would you do that though if you didn't have a limb? How would you would? There's got to be a
Well,
coordinating
there'd be a
point.
way that you could possibly work with that. You know, I've not had that come up before.
Well,
But
you brought it up.
But well, and the thing of it is other people can tap for you.
Sure.
Someone else can tap those points.
So
for
if
you.
let's say I'm missing this hand, this is the one I would tap. So I
Yeah.
would say, could you?
Yeah, I
Could
could
you
tap
do-
that. I could tap that for you as long as there's
That's right.
pressure going
Oh,
on that
feels
point.
good. Thank you so
So,
much.
but you could possibly even do this to get that point
Oh, sure.
because you're
Okay.
tapping that point. You could take something else to hit that point, or maybe the knee.
Well,
Elbow,
EFT
nose.
is something I know that's very popular with a lot of people.
It's so powerful.
And it's very powerful. And
Yes.
I know that PTSD, because we have a lot of veterans that watch
Mm-hmm.
this. PTSD, have you done some work with people with PTSD?
I have not specifically veterans, but I have worked
Well,
with some
anybody
people.
can get it,
Yes, yes. Car wrecks,
Yes.
abuse,
Yeah.
neglect. Because to me,
Abuse would be a very powerful one because even if there's physical damage, physical abuse, it's always the emotional abuse
Yeah.
that's going in.
yeah.
That's really anchored.
And
yeah.
being able to relive that. There's another process. And again, if you're trying to recall that situation that happened, but it's too traumatic to see
Right.
it, you have to freeze frame it. Okay. When I heard the key in the door. Okay. When I heard the key in the door, I got a lot of blah, 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 blah. Okay. When the door opened. Okay. When I heard the door open. You know, you may have to tap on each freeze frame until he actually or she came
So
up.
you
and
actually
know.
tap through the situation. So with a PTSD, let's take a suppose, because I've worked with veterans. One of the reasons shamanic healing works very well with veterans is because people ask me all the time, do I have to relive this situation?
Yeah.
And I can tell them no,
You
because
don't.
I'm dealing with the spiritual side of
Yeah.
things, and we're just trying to open doors, close doors,
Yep.
bring spirit, reconnect that person with their life. So
Yeah.
we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But if you had a veteran that had a situation, let's say he's come home from Afghanistan,
Mm-hmm.
okay, are you going to take them back through that situation?
Generally, with the knowledge that I have with EFT, that's what I was trained with.
Okay.
There might be higher levels.
So this
That don't do
brings
that.
up a good point. Just the few things that we've talked about
Mm-hmm.
today. This is not to be done willy-nilly with yourself, because there's a
No.
whole. It's not
No.
just the tapping; it's the accessing
Mm-hmm.
the actual events that have happened and connecting them with your energy.
And that's one thing that you need to be aware of. You may be tapping on that guy that cut you off, but you may have something come up from your past.
That's
That's
right.
what triggered that. So that's why it's very important to have someone work with you with this.
Yeah. So
Once you
anybody
work with
that
it, yeah.
wants to, I mean, go to the website.
Research
which again,
it and see.
Yeah,
and then
which
look for
is
a professional.
Yeah.
That's
And
that can
again, one
work you
more
through
time,
this.
it's EMO free.com, and this is
Yes.
Gary Craig's
Gary Craig.
site, and
Yes.
there's plenty of information. What about you? You have a site, right?
I do have a site. It's Omnizeal. O-M as in Mary, N as in Nancy, I, and then Z as in zebra, E-A-L. L.
Just one L.
Omnizeal. Omnizeal.com, yes. And
Yeah.
there's information on there as well. And again, I have had some wonderful results with this,
Mm-hmm.
but it is something that you need to be ready to
Right.
take part in. It's
Right.
it's very possible.
It's not like going to a doctor and having somebody do it and then walk out and you're going to be well.
Yeah, no.
It needs
and
to be something that's interactive. So
Yes.
know that you're going to be coming up with things, because many
Yeah.
times the roots are so deep, people don't even know where they are.
No,
And,
they don't.
And we need to go there.
Yes.
You know?
And it is challenging, because that's one thing that was mentioned. He said this one woman, wrote him and said, this, I went online, I started tapping on my own, and then this happened.
Yeah.
And she didn't know that could happen.
Right.
So it's bringing your attention that it is a very powerful tool. This is
Right.
an example that I tell people. I was tapping one day. I was doing that late night eating. That I'm even
I don't
though,
think anybody listening has
you
ever
know,
done late
yeah,
night eating.
no late night eating. But even though I'm hungry, I don't need to eat. Even though I'm hungry, I don't need to eat. Even though I'm hungry, I don't need to eat. Don't need to eat. Don't need to eat. And that was, one night. And the next day, about 7 o'clock in the evening, I realized I hadn't eaten all day long.
Oh, yeah, you didn't define it. You got to be careful what you say, because your brain,
You are
your brain and your
programming
subconscious
your
hears
brain.
words. Yeah, here's your
So
words.
even though I'm hungry, I choose to only put healthy food in my body at good hours of the day, or whatever you want to say.
Whatever, but be careful what you tell yourself.
Be cautious what you are programming your body. But you can also say, I have a strong self-esteem. I'm very powerful in my life. I stand up for myself. But you might also say, in loving, kind ways, I tell people what I think.
Yeah, be careful. Yeah.
I tell
yeah,
people
yeah.
what I think. You are reprogramming your brain. It's very powerful. Sometimes
Right.
people don't quite grasp how powerful it is.
So, what do we have, George? We have about 2 or 3 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're right here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And you work out of your home at this point, but you do meditations.
I do meditation groups. I actually do workshops in various locations. Tomorrow night, we're doing what's called an energy shower. It's a drumming circle,
Right.
kind of, but we
Right.
all get to participate, and it's kind of fun and interactive.
And you can keep your clothes on.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the kind of place it is.
Yeah. Okay, keep going.
There we go. Thursday, actually at 4 o'clock, 4 to 6, I'm going to be doing a workshop at Reclaimed Art Supplies. It's at 1121 South Casino Center Boulevard, just south of Charleston. Reclaimed is an amazing place. It's a repurposable art supply store, but she does workshops on bringing community together and helping us all
that's that
become
place you
loving
told me I
people.
should go
Oh,
down
it's
and-
such
yeah,
a
yeah,
wonderful
yeah.
space.
I'll
I
have to
love
go take a look
Reclaimed.
at it.
And I'm doing an EFT workshop based on the book You Can Heal Your Life, because I take Louise Hay's positive affirmations and work those in with the EFT.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be teaching, or just showing EFT basics.
Oh, that's good. So
I'll
if
be doing
anybody
EFT
that watches
basics.
this and wants some EFT basics, that'll be when? Thursday?
Thursday at 4 o'clock at Reclaimed Art Supplies with a Z. And it's on Casino Center Boulevard. If you know where the Arts Factory is,
Right.
it's just right south of the Arts Factory off of Charleston. It's the second building. You can't miss it because it's got a huge sign that says Reclaimed in front of it.
Okay.
And that's 1121 South Casino Center Boulevard.
And if somebody wanted to book an appointment with you,
702-265-5219.
okay?
So, yeah, 702-265-5219, Janie Powers. You can also go to my website again, Omnizeal.
With one L.
Yeah. Omni. That's one
Here,
energy,
lean over. She's gonna take a
Omnizeal.
picture.
And
Get it? Yeah.
it's and you can contact me through that as well. So, and we have various on there. I need to update my calendar for March. I'm kind of behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's paperwork and computer stuff.
I know.
yeah.
I've got tons of that going
It's
on,
that, and
too.
Friday night we have a Reiki share with Crystal Bowl meditation going on. So
Oh, that's
it's
good.
a very,
You and
very
Sherry
full week.
Smith.
Yeah, and that's
That's
at
good.
Oasis to Zen Wellness Spa. And that's off of Rancho and Alexander, right
Oh,
by
I
the
love
VA.
that. I was up there. I went up there with
Yeah,
Cozy, and
yeah.
we went and I met. Is her name Sherry?
Sherry
yeah.
Petroni, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful space. She's
Beautiful
got a wonderful
space. It's
thing.
good stuff.
Great energy there.
Yep.
And we're going to be there Friday night at 7. And it's just, like I said, there's so many things going on right now. We have, like, Sherry and I have 11 events combined. this month. We're going to be at the Center for Spiritual Living on inside the Buzz and Brushes on Sunday morning.
Oh, wow.
It's a Center for Spiritual Living inside Buzz and Brushes inside the Orleans.
I was going to say, that's the one that's inside the Orleans.
It's inside the Orleans.
We have a Center for Spiritual Living inside a casino, which is really interesting.
Yes,
and
it
I'm
is.
going to go just because I want to feel what it's like.
You have to do a meditation there because that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
we're doing. From 9 to 9:30, we do the meditation there, and then they take it's a wonderful service. I mean, it's just
Oh,
a
that's
very
great.
loving one.
Have you
Very
been there?
marquee.
Do a lot of
Yes,
people
yes.
come?
It was, there was a lot of people there
Wow.
last time. Yeah, there was
Cool.
a lot of people there last time. It's a great space. So, yep.
Okay, well, Janie, thanks for coming on. I hope
Thank
you
you-
come
thank you
again.
for having me. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I'm Lainey Risto. If you want to book an appointment with me, you can book. I'm a shamanic healer and practitioner. You can call me at 702-308-8464. I also have a website. You can go to shamanicsong, SHAMANICSONG.com. And I'm going this coming weekend, I'm going to Seattle, and I'm going to take an advanced curse and thought form training, which doesn't mean I'm going to learn new swear words. It's about removing curses,
Removing the curses.
and thought forms, which can plague people
Yeah.
with great things.
Yes.
I am going to be on Spirit Us Reiki Center. I know you've been down there too.
Yeah,
I'll be down there on the
Spirit
25th, going to do that. And in May, I just set May 16th and 17th, I'm doing a 2-day workshop on beginning shamanic journey.
Spirit Us?
It's Spirit Us, yep.
Spirit Us is great. We're there next a week from today.
Yeah,
A
we
week from
kind of
today, we're
follow
there.
each other
Yeah.
around, don't we? Yeah.
There's so many beautiful places around town.
Yeah.
There really are.
So for the coming week, we'll be back next week. Kara Keating is coming back, and we're going to talk about more. We've done a couple of shows on empathy. We're going to talk. The name of the show is Funny Feelings. Are they yours or are they mine? And because we've had a lot of people asking, well, I'm sensitive, but I don't know if I'm an empath, but I don't know. How do I tell if they're theirs or mine, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. That'll be next week on the 17th.
Yeah.
And this week, if you have some emotional upset, if you have something that you would like to try something new, give Janie a call or go to that website, emofree.com, and check out EFT and tapping your way to emotional freedom. This was fun.
Yeah. Oh,
With some good laughs.
One other
That's
thing
good
I
too.
do have going that's brand new is the channeling. So there's a New World Center. If you're not familiar with New World Center here in Las Vegas, every Thursday night they have anywhere from 4 to 8 different people channeling different messages.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes,
I
it's
should
a
get one
new
of them on
channel
there.
group. It's a new
Yeah.
channeled group. Yeah, I'll have to talk to them because they're really great.
Okay. Well,
They're
have a great week.
Thank you,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
listening. And I'm going to see you again soon.
Yay.
Okay, everybody, wave. We're going to wave. We're going to wave. Bye. Have a good week.
Here I am, standing at the door, looking back at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might have been, knowing that this day will never come